गणानां त्वा गणपतिं हवामहे कविं कवीनामुपमश्रवस्तमं ज्येष्ठराजं ब्रह्मणां ब्रह्मणस्पतान् शृण्वन्नोतिभिः सीदसादनं श्रीमहागणाधिपतये नमः। गुरुर्ब्रह्मा गुरुर्विष्णुः गुरुर्देवो महेश्वरः गुरुः साक्षात् परं ब्रह्म तस्मै श्रीगुरवे नमः। सदाशिवसमारम्भां शङ्कराचार्यमध्यमाम् अस्मदाचार्यपर्यन्तां वन्दे गुरुपरम्पराम्। Om. Dear friends, we are in this Viveka Chudamani. We are seeing this equation between Jiva and Brahma being postulated by, say, as in Vedanta, Shankaracharya is explaining. Whatever is in Vedanta, whatever is in the Upanishads, Shankaracharya is explaining. In the last class, we saw this shloka number 236 of this Ramakrishna Mission edition and 238 in that Shrungeri edition. That is, Bhrantasya yadyad Brahmatah pratitam Brahmaiva tattat rajatam hi shuktihi. So whatever is seen because of Brahma, because of delusion, it is nothing but it is Brahman alone. Idam taya Brahma sadeva rupyate. Likewise, appearing as the objectified world, Brahman is seen. Brahman is seen, but aropitam Brahmani nama matram. All that thing is only aropitam. It is something which is like that Vacharambhana Shruti. Shankaracharya, he was quoting that Vacharambhana Shruti. That is, Vacharambhanam namadheyam murtiketyeva satyam. That is, if you take clay and various 100 varieties of clay pots, you take gold and 100 varieties of gold ornaments, all those are names and forms, but in essence, they are either clay or gold. So, similarly, here also it is Brahman only, it is seen otherwise. So, that is what we read in the last class. Aropitam Brahmani nama matram. So, he is continuing. He is now explaining the nature of Brahman. What exactly is the nature of Brahma? Then, let us see. Atah param brahma sadadvitiyam vishuddha vijnana ghanam niranjanam Prashantam adyantam vihinamakkriyam nirantaranandarasaswarupam. So various things which we come across in the Upanishads. Brahman is described as Nitya, Shuddha, Buddha, Mukta, etc., etc. So many words. All those things we will get. Of course, Shankara, there is a little bit of repetition here, but then we have to, it is basically to drill that idea more and more into our minds. The same thing in some other words, it is again and again told basically to drill that idea. So, ataha param brahma, this supreme Brahman, sat advitiyam. Sat, again and again we have to explain so that we will again and again we retain it in our minds. Sat means what? That which is not negated at any point of time is sat. Trikala badhyam, something which is not negated, sat. Advitiyam, again Advitiyam is non-dual. If you just say non-dual, it is not enough. We can also say sajatiya, vijatiya, swagata bheda rahitam, etc., etc. That is, there is no sajatiya bheda. That is, there is no such thing which is belonging to an equal jati, and there is no such thing which is belonging to another jati also, vijatiya. Swagata bhedam, and internally or within oneself there can be bheda, like my hand, my head, my body, my shoulder, my hand, etc., etc. Swagata bheda. So there is no question of sajatiya, vijatiya, swagata bheda in the case of Brahman. So that is the reason why we call it advitiyam. Then vishuddham, not only vishuddham, vishuddha vijnana ghanam. That is pure consciousness alone. What is this? Why is this word vishuddha is used? Swamiji is explaining in that Chandrasekhara Bharati Swami, nirvishaya vijnana rupam. That is nirvishaya vijnanam. That is, when I am looking at an object, this is vishaya vijnanam. I am looking at an object, I am having knowledge of this in my mind. My whatever consciousness is associated with my mind is something which is limited. My limited consciousness or not a consciousness is not limited. My limited vritti, let us say, chitta vritti is limited to this particular thing. So there is a difference between the knower, known, etc. Knower, known, and knowledge is the process. So, but here that nirvishaya, there is no object. There is no object to look at. So it is something which is objectless. Objectless pure consciousness is that Vishuddha Vijnana Ghanam. Vijnana Ghanam. Then Niranjanam. Anjanam. We know what is Anjanam. Anjanam is some small dark paste which usually village magicians they apply on the eyelids of young boys. Suppose there is a theft in somebody's house. They pick up a small young boy and then they apply some that black paste on the eyelids, and then they ask him to close the eyes and just meditate where the thief has gone. So that fellow will say something, he has gone in the eastern direction, he is there sitting near that well, etc., etc. I have seen sometimes it turns out to be true. I don't know how. It turns out to be true. But anyway, Anjanam is something which is some dark patch, let us say. It is something which is impurity. Anjana is something which is an impurity, which is something which is attributed or which is there on a thing. So, Niranjanam is something which is devoid of any type of impurity. That means not even that Ajnana Sparsha. Ajnana Sparsha means that pure consciousness when we are distinguishing as different from Maya also. That, of course, it is different from Maya, but then this is also associated with Maya. Maya Vachinnam Chaitanyam Ishvaraha, we say. Now we are distinguishing that Maya Vachinna Chaitanya from this pure Chaitanya. Maya Vachinnam Chaitanyam, when we say, then he becomes the creator, it becomes the cosmic mind, Hiranyagarbha, etc., etc. We are distinguishing Shuddha Brahma from this Maya Vachinna Chaitanya. So this Maya Vachinna Chaitanyam also is Ishvara. Then Shuddha Ishvara is that pure consciousness, that Vijnana Ghanam Niranjanam. Then, and you see, now all these things are also in neuter gender. They are not in masculine or feminine. Then Prashantam Adyanta Vihinam. Prashantam means no change, not undergoing any type of change. It is totally tranquil, means it is not undergoing any change. Adyanta Vihinam. That is, there is no Janma, no Nasha. So Adyanta Vihinam. Akriyam. There is no activity also. That again, we are now referring to the Supreme Reality, which is different from the so-called creator at that level. Even the creator, as we call it, is a visualization in that Brahman for our own convenience. Creator is again a upadhi. Creator is again a upadhi. And Shankaracharya is going to reject that upadhi also, because that upadhi is also something which is there, kalpitam in Maya. And whatever is kalpitam is unreal. Unreal means that is something which is astinasti, what is this? You can't say whether it is asti or nasti. Sadasadhyam anirvachaniyam. Astinasti vichikitsa hetu, that's a different thing. Okay. So, vihinam akriyam. Then, nirantara ananda rasa swarupam. Nirantara. Antaram means a gap. Nirantaram means without any sort of gap, without any, say, sort of recess. That is avichinna, something which is an unbroken, say, stream, not even stream, an unbroken ananda rasa. A homogeneous ananda. Homogeneous ananda which is unbroken. That is ananda rasa swarupam. He said Vijnana Ghana Swarupam Sad. It is Sat. It is number one, it is Sat. Number two, it is Chit. Number three, it is also Ananda. So that Sat, Chittu, Ananda, all the three things have been told in this shloka. Then he continues like that. Nirasta Maya Kruta Sarva Bhedam Nityam Sukham Nishkalam Aprameyam. Your book says Nishkam Nityam Dhruvam, isn't it? Nityam Dhruvam Nishkalam Aprameyam Arupam Avyaktamana Anakhyam Avyayam Jyotiswayam Kinchididam Jakasti. So there exists what is called Brahman. He says, Nirasta Maya Kruta Sarva Bhedam. That is, we see so much of duality all around us. So when we examine, when we investigate the reality of all these things, we are bound to negate all these. So that is the meaning. Nirasta Maya Kruta Sarva Bhedam. This Sarva Bheda, all types of differentiation which we see, all types of dualities which we see, are creation of this Maya alone. Because in that Maya, that is what creates that first notion of, say, the cosmic mind. Then along with the cosmic mind, there are what are called Pancha Tanmatras, etc., etc. And that cosmic mind creates a whole world for itself. And that cosmic, it is an idea. The whole world is an idea in that cosmic mind. So that is what Vedanta says. The whole world is an idea in that cosmic mind. As a result of that idea, this whole thing is appearing. This is Pancha Tanmatra, and Pancha Tanmatra again turning into gross elements, etc., etc. And then again Panchamahabhutas. From Panchamahabhutas, this whole universe, and then Jiva, etc., etc. So when we investigate into the real nature, then you have to reject them one by one, like we have rejected this Pancha Kosha. When the Pancha Koshas get rejected, naturally the Karana also gets rejected, isn't it? Pancha Koshas are the effect, Karya. But then the Karana also automatically gets rejected. Nirastam Ayakruta Sarvabhedam, then Nityam. Nityam again means something which is always a Sat and also Adyantarahitam, something which is beginningless and then there is no end. Then Sukham. Of course, that book, that edition says Dhruvam, Nityam, Dhruvam, both are one and the same. Sukham, Ananda Swarupam, Nishkalam, Nishkala is another thing which that word we get in Prashnopanishad. Gata, Kala, like that. The 16 Kala, Shodasha Kala, Purushaha we see. So Kala is a limb, Avayavas. So Nishkala is something which is not it is limbless, Niravayam. That means which is of the nature of infinity. Niravayam means it is of the nature of infinity. Aprameyam. This again we have to recall that Prama is what? Prama is the real knowledge of a thing is called Prama. Yathartha Jnanam Prama. Yathartha Jnanam, knowledge as it is of a thing is called Prama. Prama Karanam Pramanam. The tool for Prama is Pramanam. That is, my eye is a Pramanam for seeing this. Because my eye is directly seeing this and it is directly knowing this. Prama Karanam. It is Pramayaha Karanam. Karanam is tool. Pramayaha Karanam is Pramanam. Then whatever can be known by Pramana is Prameyam. So Aprameyam means which cannot be known by any Pramana. That means which is beyond sensory perception, which is beyond the understanding of the mind. On the other hand, that is what is illumining this mind. So that is the point. So it is not known to the manovrutti. Manovrutti means a cognition of the mind, or rather that thought process of the mind. Then because all pramanas are again chitta vrittis only. Whatever pramana you take, it is only a manovrutti. Then arupam, avyaktam, arupam, that is something which doesn't have any form. Avyaktam, something which is not manifest. Anakhyam, Akhya means a name. Akhya is a name. You can name something only when you see some quality. You have to see some property. You have to see some category. Suppose I say this is a pen. So it belongs to the category, a jati called pen. Something I say it is something, some color, it is some sort of slightly lightish brown color. So that light brown is another color which I see. So I can name it. Then something else called black, I can name it. Then there should be some action. Suppose I am writing something. So that is an action. So jati, kriya, gunam, all these things, they are qualities which can be known. But here, no such thing is there. So that is the reason why it is anakhyam. It is nameless. Avyayam, we know this, where there is no vyaya, where there is no decline, where there is no change. Then swayam jyotihi. Swayam jyoti is what? Not known by others. It cannot be known. It is not illumined by something else. Then on the other hand, that is what is illumining. That is what is making all other things illumining all other things. Natatra, what is that? Natatra suryo bhati na chandra tarakam, like Kathopanishad says. So and then swayam jyotihi, kinchididam, so such thing, kinchididam means such a thing exists, chakasti. Chakasti means it is shining. It is shining as aparoksham. It is something which is there. Instinctively you can feel it. Instinctively you can realize that that thing is there, which is different from all these things. And then he is again explaining, Jnatrugnyeya jnana shunyam anantam nirvikalpam kevala khanda chinmatram param tattvam vidurbudhaha Jnatrugnyeya jnana shunyam. We know this also. Where that Triputi is not there, there is no Jnata, there is no Jnanam. When there is an individual Jnanam, in the case of an individual, there is what is called Triputi. Jnata, Jnayam and Jnanam. But in the case of pure consciousness, where there is no differentiation at all, then there is no question of Jnata, Jnayam and Jnanam. So that is Jnana Shunyam. Then Anantam. Anantam again is without any sort of Paricheda. Desha, Kala, Vastu Paricheda. Again we have to see where this Desha Paricheda I am in this place and not in some other place. Kala Paricheda, I am at this time and not some other time. Vastu Paricheda, I am X and not Y. So this sort of Paricheda is not there in that supreme reality. Then Nirvikalpam, where there is no Bheda. Vikalpa is Bheda, Bheda Shunyam. Then Kevala Khanda Chinmatram, it is of the nature of pure consciousness alone. Then Param Tattvam, Viduhu Budhaha. Budhaha, Viduhu. Budhaha means wise people or realized persons. They know it like that. Then in some other manner he is saying the same. Aheyam anupadeyam mano vachamagocharam apramayam anadyantam brahmapurnamaham mahaha. Your book says mahan mahaha. That is again Pathantaram. Maham mahaha. This book says. It doesn't matter. Heya, Heyo Padeya Varjita. We get in Lalita Sahasranama, Heyo Padeya Varjita. What is it? There is nothing to take out, there is nothing to bring in. In infinity, in something which is of the nature of Ananta, you cannot take out anything. Even if you take out, there it is still, if you cannot take out, actually there is no question of out. Bahiranta Shunyam, isn't it? But there is nothing beyond it. So if you want to take out something, you can't take out. And then you can't bring in. That is so, that means Heya Upadeya Varjita. Heya means something Ha Dhatu. O Hak Tyage. Ha means what? To take out. O Hak Tyage. So that is Hanamu Upadeyam. There is no question of taking out, there is no question of bringing in, which is because it is of the nature of Ananta. Then Mano Vachama Gocharam. It is beyond mind and vak. Manaha, vak. Vacham. That means not only vak but all other sense organs, whether it is sense organ or which is organs of action. It is beyond all these things. Then aprameyam, we just explained, we saw the word aprameyam. Anadyantam, there is no adi, no antam. Then if it is so aprameyam, how can it be known? So that Swamiji points out, Shravana Manana Nididhyasanabhyam Susamskrutam Manaha. So it is known to a particular mind which is refined by Shravana, Manana and Nididhyasana. If it is totally aprameyam, then how can we be talking about Brahman? It is known, it is knowable at least. Theoretically you and I may be knowing, but practically some other Mahatmas will be knowing. Practically, because you and I may be every day saying Purnamada Purnamidam Purnat Purnamudachyate etc. etc. but we may not be feeling that fullness. We may not be feeling that Purnatvam. So if you want to feel that Purnatvam, you have to start thinking about it. We have to start thinking slowly and slowly and slowly. We should start getting beyond our whatever limitations we have and getting identified with a higher thing, getting identified with a larger thing. So only then that small Purnatvam will gradually blossom in us. Or maybe for great Mahatmas, in one stroke that Purnatvam may be there, right from the beginning that Purnatvam may come. But for us who are so much entangled in this world, we have to slowly pull us out, we have to slowly pull out and then acquire this Purnatvam. So that is what it is. Aprameyam. So I was telling about this aprameyam. If it is totally aprameyam, how is it known? Can it be known? That is Shravana, lot of Mananam, Nididhyasanam. Nididhyasanam is a constant application of whatever is there to us. Every minute you have to measure your own raga, dvesha. Every minute we are supposed to measure our own, perception of dualities. And then are we slightly going beyond dualities? Are we still caught in the dualities? So that is what we have to see. Anadyantam, that is Brahma, Brahma Purnam, that is that fullness of Brahman. Mahan Maha, Mahat, what is this Mahat? Mahat is that supreme, not supreme reality, what is that? Mahat is that Hiranyagarbha. Hiranyagarbha Tattvam is called Mahat Tattvam. That is, what is Hiranyagarbha? Hiranyagarbha is the cosmic mind, the first notion of I, the first notion of self in that supreme consciousness, in that ocean of consciousness, let us say. So that Mahan Maha, it is something which is beyond that Mahat, Mahan Maha. Then higher than that Hiranyagarbha. Then now he is coming to the Mahavakya. We know this Mahavakya, there are what are called Mahavakyas in Upanishads. Why Mahavakya means grand statement, let us say. Maha is great, Mahat great, and then mighty, let us say. Mahat and mighty are cognate words. So Mahavakya are mighty statements, let us say. So what are these mighty statements? There are 4 statements which are said to be Mahavakyas. That is because they talk about, they equate, or rather they postulate the equation of Jiva with the Brahman. For example, Tattvamasi, that you are, is something which is told 9 times to Shvetaketu by his father. Tattvamasi, Tattvamasi Shvetaketu. He gives so many examples and then says Tattvamasi Shvetaketu. So he says so many times. So that thing is the teaching, that is the purport, that is the teaching, that is the message of the Upanishads, saying that this Jiva is equal to that Brahma. Equal in what sense? That is going to be, it has to be examined. If I say I am Brahman, then somebody can say, challenge me, okay, if you are Brahma, okay, you create this cup. I can't. So you can't answer such people unless we learn in what way we are Brahma. So when I say I am Brahma, I don't mean that I am the creator. And in fact, in our theory, ultimately speaking, this creator also is not a creator. Creator is only a facilitating word. The very word creator is not exactly a creator. It is only a facilitating word for that, say, this cosmic mind, which we are calling. And then the cosmic mind again is a product of that Maya. And then again it is Sadasadhyam Nirvachaniyam. It comes to that. That is the, say, actual status of that creator. So now, this Mahavakya, by rejecting all those, say, things like all these upadhis, it is going to say that without upadhi, or rather devoid of upadhi, the Jiva is the same as Brahma, essentially the same as Brahma. So that is what is going to say. So Tattvam Padabhyam Abhidhiyamanayoho Brahmatmano Shodhitayor Yaditham Shrutya Tayos Tattvamasiti Samyak Ekatvameva Pratipadyate Muhuhu. Tattvam Padabhyam Abhidhiyamanayoho Brahmatmanoho. This Brahma and Atma, that is Brahma and Jiva. Brahma we have just seen 4-5 shlokas. Shankaracharya explaining the nature, what is exactly is Brahma. So mainly what he said is Satyam Jnanam Anantam or Sat Chid Ananda. So those things only in different words he explained. So Tattvam, this Brahmatmanoho, Tat Tvam Padabhyam Abhidhiyamanayoho. This Brahma and Jiva, they are being conveyed, they are being told as Tat and Tvam. Abhidhiyamanayoho means which are being told in that manner. That Brahma is being told as a Tat, it is being referred to as Tat, and the Jiva is being referred to as Tvam, isn't it? Tat Tvamasi. Of those two, Shodhita Yoho. Shodhita means Shodhanam. What is Shodhanam? Investigate, inquire, investigate. In fact, Shodhana we also refer to it as filtering. So for example, if you are making some coffee, you put it in, say, that filter and then you filter it. That is what is called Shodhanam. In Telugu also we use that word Shodhanam. That Shodhanam is filtering and taking out what is not needed and taking what is needed. So that is Shodhanam. Shodhitayoho. After investigating in this fashion, after filtering away all other things, Shodhitayoho yadi itham, if it is done in this particular way, then Shrutya, on the strength of Shruti, then Shrutya tayoho, Tattvamasiti samyak, tayoho means of those two, Tattvamasiti samyak ekatvameva pratipadyate. Tayoho Tattvamasiti samyak Tattvamasi. That Shruti says, Chandogya Upanishad says. Iti samyak means very, very well, very, very clearly. Ekatvameva pratipadyate muhuhu. That oneness is told pratipadyate. Pratipadanam means postulation. It is postulated. Muhuhu means again and again and again. That is 9 times it is saying. So Tat, when we say Tat, when we call it Tat, what all do we see? We see not only that say pure Chit Swarupa, we also refer to as say Sarvagnya, Sarveshwara, etc., and he is the Jagat Kartrutva, etc. Then when we say Tvam means a small fellow, Kinchigyaha. Then Tarvata, not only that, he is somebody who is Niyamyaha. Ishvara is Niyamaka. Niyamaka is the controller. He is the Niyamya, who is the controlled. And he is a fellow who is having all these Jagrata, Swapna, Sushupti, Avastha, etc., etc. He is somebody who is caught in these Pancha Koshas. So these are all the limitations of this Tvam. So when all these Shodhanam means we have done negation of these panchakoshas. So these panchakoshas, it is somewhat like a coffee powder, we have removed. Then that negation of Jagat Kartrutva, suppose you delete that also in Brahma. Like you have done Shodhanam in the case of a Jiva, you also do Shodhanam in the case of Brahma. If you do Shodhanam in the case of Brahma, and you remove that Sarvajñata, etc., etc., what remains is pure consciousness. So that is what it is. So Shodhitayoho Samyak Ekattvameva Pratipadyate Muhu. What remains is pure Chinmatra, Chit alone. In both cases, what remains is Chit alone, and also Sat, of course. Sat, Chitu, that is what remains. So that is Shodhanam. He is now, in this particular shloka, he talked about that Shodhanam of Sat and Chit. Now again he is saying how exactly that Shodhanam has to be done, and how that Aikyam means that unity, how that unity is to be achieved. Aikyam tayor lakshitayor navachyayoho. So he is again cautioning. Like I said, if somebody says, if you are God, you create this, say for example, a small item. So for that he is saying, Aikyam tayor lakshitayor navachyayoho vachyayor nigadyate anyonya viruddha dharminoho Khadyota bhanvorivaraja bhrutyayoho kupamburashyoh paramanu mervoho. So Aikyam tayoho Aikyam. Tayoho means of this Jiva and Ishvara. Jiveshvara yoho Aikyam. Aikyam is unity. We have to say the Aikyam nigadyate. Nigadyate has to be connected to Aikyam. Aikyam nigadyate. Nigadyate means it is being told. This Aikyam is being told of Jiveshvarayoho, when of Jiva and Ishvara, Aikyam is told when Lakshitayoho, na Vachyayoho. Lakshita is what? Lakshita is something which has been conveyed by Lakshana, is called Lakshitam. Na Vachyam. Vachya is something which is told by Vachyartha. Lakshyartha and Vachyartha. Nigadyate anyonya viruddha dharminoh. This Lakshyartha and Vachyartha, Chandrasekhara Bharati Swami has given a very, very elaborate commentary on another shloka which is immediately following this. We can see right now, we can see that, that commentary right now. He explains what exactly is this Lakshana and what exactly is this Vachyartha. We know that language, we are all intelligent human beings. We use language on different occasions in different ways. When we are teaching Shastra, we talk in a language which is, say, what can we say, which doesn't have double meanings and purified. Not purified. It is something which is, what can we say, not embellished. Not embellished means I am not making, indulging in some figures of speech, etc. I am conveying in a pure, say, Vachyartha, pure verbal sense has to be communicated very properly. So that is what is happening in a Shastra class. But if you go to a literature class, there are various types of, say Alankara. Alankara means these figures of speech. Language is not used in an ordinary way. So, how exactly a word is used and what are the meanings of a word? In fact, this is something, it is a very old inquiry when we see our, say, tradition. Vedas, we know that they were several thousands of years old. And then, along with the Vedas, another Shastra also developed, which was called Mimamsa Shastra. Mimamsa Shastra was developed in order to know the real meaning of Vedic words. Suppose Veda makes a statement. In that, Vrihi Navahanti, a very standard statement. That is, for a particular yajna at a particular step. You see, in any yajna or any ritual, there is what is called iti kartavyata. Iti kartavyata means a procedure. Step 1, step 2, step 3, step 4, etc., etc. That is called iti kartavyata. So in that iti kartavyata, suppose one step he says, vrihi navahanti. So you have to say pound rice, paddy, and then make rice. What type of, say, how exactly are you making this rice? Are you making it by pounding? Are you making it by nakha vidalanam? Nakha vidalanam means take every grain and then take out the husk or anything like that. How exactly you have to do? There is a discussion on that. What exactly does the text say? Avahananam. Avahananam means how many times you have to beat. So all types of questions they question, and then they very elaborately discuss. Very elaborately discuss, and then say, no, for this word avahananam, this is the meaning. For some other word, so alambhanam, so this is the meaning in this particular context. So like that, Mimamsa Shastra developed as a sort of philology, as we call philology in modern days. In fact, philology is something which has come out only in 16th century. Philology, as we see it, philology is to understand the meaning of a text. So here, Mimamsa Shastra is basically, it originated some thousands of years ago in order to do the same thing. And Mimamsa Shastra talks about this, say this vritti, etc., etc. Whether it is Vachyartha or whether it is figurative sense, Gauni. Gauni means figurative sense, how it has to be taken. So all those things. So later, grammarians, they further developed. Later, say this Alankara Shastra. Alankara Shastra means literary criticism, let us say. Grammar, from Mimamsa, grammarians they developed, like Panini and others, grammarians they developed. And later, the people of literature, say people who were there, who wrote literary criticism, whether it is Natya Shastra, all those people, they developed these things. A particular word, what types of meaning it gives. So coming to the point, say suppose we take a statement. There is what is called Vachyartha. Vachyartha means a literal meaning of a particular statement. That is the typical, without any embellishment, without any suggested meaning or anything like that. So he is a boy, or he is a brave person, something like that. There is a statement. So that particular statement is Vachyartha. Then there is what is called Lakshyartha. So a slightly figurative way it is used. So for example, Vachyartha, the example given is, okay, example, you can take any example. I say he is a brave person. So that is literally, it is a pure, simple statement. Lakshyartha, so I mean something. I say he is a boy, he is a lion. Agnir Manavakaha, he is like fire. So Simho Manavakaha, this boy is like a lion. So he is obviously not a lion. He is as brave as a lion. Or Agnir Manavakaha, like fire, he is so powerful and then he is so well versed in, say, Shastra, etc., etc. So I am taking a Lakshanartha, that is Lakshyartha, it is called Lakshyartha. Then in addition to that, they also talk about one thing called Vyangya. Vyanjana, they say. Vyangyartha means it is not in Abhidha, it is not in, say, Lakshana, it is in Vyanjana. That is the third level of meaning. We need not go into that because Vyanjana Vritti is mostly in literature. That is some suggested meaning. Suggested meaning, in fact, literature, if you see, you get hundreds of examples for this Vyanjana Vritti. In fact, Dhvani, it is also called Dhvani, and people, they give a lot of importance to this Dhvani. And in fact, in literature, that is supposed to be a great thing, to have that Dhvani and then to have that Vyanjana Vritti. So we need not bother about that. So we are now talking about this Lakshyartha and Vachyartha. So Lakshyartha is also called Lakshana Vritti. Vritti is again, it is a Mano Vritti only. Lakshana Vritti is a Mano Vritti only. And Lakshyartha is taken when Vachyartha does not make any sense. So Lakshyartha is taken when the verb, the pure literal meaning of a sentence is not matching with the occasion. So that is what it is. For example, he is a lion. Then the standard example which our people give is Gangayam Ghosha, village in Ganges. Village in Ganges doesn't mean that it is in the village, it is right on the banks of the village, of the Ganges. So that is, we have taken a slightly different meaning. Then regarding this Lakshana, we are going to see what type of Lakshana here. Say he is also going to say about Jahal Lakshana, Ajahal Lakshana he is going to say. Or I can explain when we come to that. When we come to that, I will explain. So, Aikyam Tayor Lakshitayor Navachyayoho. So, this Lakshyartha has to be taken and not Vachyartha. When we say Vachyartha, for Tvam Shabda, what is the Vachyartha? Vachyartha means Tvam person, he is a delimited person with Panchakosha, etc., etc. Of course, he is also, say that Chit, say Pratibimba is very much there. And Tat Padartha, Vachyartha, what is there? Vachyartha means that is Sarvagnya, Sarveshwara, etc., etc. That is the Vachyartha. And what is the Lakshyartha of that Tat? Lakshyartha of Tat is Shuddha Chaitanyam. Lakshyartha of this Tvam also is Chaitanya, Chinmatra. That is Lakshyartha, this Vachyartha may be all this delimited fellow, but this Lakshyartha is, all this is illumined by the Chidabhasa. So that Chaitanya which is associated with this Antahkarana. So Lakshyartha here also is Chinmatra, there also it is Chinmatra. So we are equating this Lakshyartha only and not Vachyartha. So that is what it is. Aikyam tayor lakshitayoh na vachyayo vachyayoh nigadyate aikyam nigadyate lakshitayoh na vachyayoh. Then anyonya viruddha dharminoh. Otherwise they appear to be totally contradicting. Anyonya viruddha dharmi. That man is a mighty person and this man is a very, very limited person. And then he is giving examples. Khadyota bhanvoriva. Khadyota is some small, what can we say? A small, in Telugu we say Miduguru Purugu. So that is Khadyota, a small insect which shines. A small insect which flies about and it shines. So that is a Khadyota. Then bhanvoriva. Bhanu is sun. So you can't compare that Bhanu, a sun, with this small insect which is flying around, though it is shining. Then Raja Bhrutyayoho. You take the king and then you take the servant. And then you take Kupa Amburashyoho. You take a small well and you take the ocean. And then Paramanu Mervoho. You take a small atom and then you take the huge mountain. So the difference is like that between these two. So that is how you can't equate the Vachyartha. You can't equate the literal meaning. You have to only equate the Lakshyartha or whatever is the essence. Whatever is the essence of these two you have to equate and not the external appearance. So that is what he says. Then tayor virodhoyam upadhikalpito navastavah kaschidupadireshaha ishasya maya mahadadikaranam jivasya karyam shrunu panchakosham. So tayoho virodhaha ayam virodhaha. Of these two, this particular contradiction, ayam virodhaha. In fact, the basic question is, we are saying that you reject the upadhi. The question comes, is upadhi real? If upadhi is real, you can't reject it. If upadhi is what to be real, this body etc. is real, and if that creatorhood is something which is real, you can't reject it. Is it real? If it is real, there will be duality. Naturally, you have to accept duality. So Shankaracharya, not only Shankaracharya, but Vedanta says that this upadhi is unreal. So he is explaining that if upadhi is unreal only, then equation stands. If upadhi is real, then obviously you are making a very silly comparison. Like Raja and Bhrutya is only for the sake of understanding he has given. Meru and say Paramanu. Only for understanding it is given, but literally we can't even take that. So tayor virodhaha ayam virodhaha upadhi kalpitaha. It is something which is caused by this upadhi. We are visualizing only because of this upadhi. Na vastavah kaschit. Na vastavah kaschid upadhi reshaha. In fact, there is this upadhi is something which is not real. So this is the statement. Na vastavah kaschid upadhi reshaha. Yeshaho upadhihi. Na vastavah. This upadhi is something which is not vastava. It is not something which is having that vastu sthiti. Vastava is what? Vastu sthiti. Vastu means something which exists. So there is no real existence. Vastu sthiti is not there in this upadhi. Then Ishasya Maya. Ishasya Maya means what? For Isha, Maya is the upadhi. Upadhi we have to understand it there. We have to do adhyahara. Ishasya upadhihi Maya. Mahadadi Karanam. Mahadadi Karanam means that which is the Karanam for Mahat etc. Mahadadi Karanam. Maya Mahadadi Karanam is the Upadhi for Isha. That is the Maya which is the Karanam, which is the cause for this Hiranyagarbha, for Panchatanmatras etc. at a higher level, at the cosmic level. So that is his Upadhi. And at microcosm level, what is my Upadhi? Jivasya karyam shrunu panchakosham. Jivasya karyam means what? Not jivasya karyam, not the karyam done by jiva. Jivasya upadhihi karyam. That upadhi has to be understood. You see, when we say ishasya, in bracket you can write upadhihi. Next to ishasya, bracket, in brackets upadhihi. Then the next line also jivasya, you can write upadhihi. Jivasya upadhihi Karyam, Shrunu, Shrunu, listen. What is that Upadhi? Panchakosham. This Panchakosham is the Upadhi. The teacher is now telling the student, so that is why this Shrunu comes. Shrunu means listen. So this Upadhi is something, Maya is the Upadhi for Ishvara, and then this Panchakosha etc. is the Upadhi for Jiva. And we know that famous statement. What is that? Say, Karyopadhirayam Jivaha, Karanopadhirishvaraha. Karya Upadhi, Karyam Upadhihi Yasya Saha, Karyopadhihi Ayam Jivaha. Karanopadhi, Karanam Upadhihi Yasya Saha, Karanopadhihi Ishvaraha. That Karyam is this Panchakosha. Karanam is that Panchatanmatra, Mahat, etc., etc. So that is Upadhi for Ishvara, and this is Upadhi for the Jiva. So is it clear?
Yes, sir.
Then Yeta Upadhi Parajivayostayoho Samyak Nirase Naparo Najivaha Rajyam Narendrasya Bhatasya Khetakaha Tayorapohena Bhato Naraja. Again, he is just giving a common example. Yeta Upadhi, Yetau Upadhi, Yetau, these two Upadhis. Upadhi is Dvivachana. Then Parajivayoho of Brahma and Jiva. These two Upadhis of Jiva and Brahma. Parajivayoho Tayoho, Parajivayoho, Tayoho Samyang Nirase, Tayoho Samyak Nirasaha. Nirasa means negation. Negation by what? Negation by proper inquiry, proper investigation, proper inquiry. Then if once we negate these two, na paraha, na jivaha, there is no such thing as Brahma, there is no such thing as Jiva. Everything is one homogeneous conscious entity only. So Rajyam Narendrasya Bhatasya Khetakaha. So this Rajyam is there for a Narendra. Narendra means a king. For a king, there is a great kingdom. For a Bhata, there is some uniform and then some sword. Khetakam means a sword. So for a Bhata, for an army, for a soldier, let us say, or a policeman, let us say. For a policeman, there is only uniform and some sword, some pistol. So, na bhatasya khetakaha. Tayor apohe. Tayoho apoha. Apoha means what? Negation. Apoha means taking away. Apa uha. Apoha. Uha apoha. We know the word uha apoha. Uha apoha. Apoha is taking away. Tayor apohe, when they are taken away, na bhato na raja. Both are equal. Both are equal when the king is naked or when the bhata is naked. Both are equal. When the king is not in his uniform and when this fellow is not in his uniform, both are equal. Tayor apohe. So removal of apoha strictly means removal of a doubt by reasoning, not merely just not blindly removing, but removal of a doubt by reasoning. Then he is also quoting the Shruti. Also quoting the Shruti, Athata Adesha iti Shruti Swayam Nishedhati Brahmani Kalpitam Dvayam Shruti Pramana Nugrihita Bodhat Tayor Nirasah Karaniya Eva. Should you blindly remove all those things or should you do something else? He says, you are not blindly doing that nirasa. You are not blindly doing it. You are doing it on the strength of Shruti. Shruti Vakya. Because Shruti itself is saying, Athata Adesho Neti Neti. That is a very famous statement. Atha Ataha Adeshaha Neti Neti. Neti Neti means what? Not this, not this. Na iti, na iti. Iti there means idam. Idam is this. Na iti. Not this, not this. So you are describing Brahman in terms of, negating what it is not. When you negate all those things, that Nishedhavadhi is called Brahma. Sarva Nishedhavadhi. That is when you negate everything, what remains is that Brahma. So that is it. So Athata Adesha iti Shrutihi Swayam Nishedhati Brahmani Kalpitam Dvayam. So Dvayam means the duality. Duality means not only two. Multiplicity. The entire duality does not mean only two. Duality means this multiplicity, this divergence, what all we see. Brahmani kalpitam, whatever is kalpitam, whatever is visualized in this Brahma, Shruti nishedhati. Shruti itself is rejecting. Then Shruti pramananugrihita bodhat. Your book says gruhita yuktiya. In fact, that edition seems to be better, that word seems to be better. Shruti pramananugrihita yuktiya. Because Shankaracharya always says, that tarka, which is in accordance with this Shruti. So that has to be followed, he says. So Shruti Pramana Anugrihita, that is the Yukti which has been sanctioned or sanctified by the Shruti, which is Yukti means logic. Logic which has been mentioned, sanctified by the Shruti. By that, Bodhat, Tayoha Nirasa Karaniya Eva. Tayoho, of those two what? Tayoha Upadhyoho. Of those two Upadhis, we have to do Nirasa of the Upadhi, not Jiva and Brahma, we are not doing Nirasa. We are doing Nirasa of Upadhi. Tayoho Nirasa Karaniya Eva. Then the next sloka says, Nedam kalpitatvan na satyam, nedam kalpitatvan na satyam, rajjudrushtavyalavat swapnavaccha, itham drishyam sadhu yuktya vyapohya, gneyah pancha gneyah pasyad ekabhavastayoryah. Now, tayoho ekabhavaha sagneyah. So that is the line. Yaha ekabhavaha asti sagneyah. Whatever ekabhava, whatever that unity is there, that has to be known, it says. Nedam kalpitatvat na satyam na idam. It is not this, not this, because it is all something which is kalpitam. It is something which is visualized. It is an appearance. It is a phenomenon in Brahman. Kalpitatvat na satyam. It is not something which is rikala badhyam. It is there when you look at it. It is not there when you, in the case of a realized person. Then Rajjudrushta Vyalavat Swapnavacha. Rajjudrushta. Rajvam Drushta. Rajjudrushta means seen on a rope. Rajjudrushta Vyala. Vyala means snake. That's all. Vyala. Rajjudrushta Vyalavat. Like the snake on a rope. Swapnavacha. Like a dream. So these two are called Pratibhasika Satya, Pratibhasika Samaniya Tattvam. That is Pratibhasika Satyam it is. When you look at it, it is there. When you realize, it is not there. So that is it. Then Itham, in this way, Drushyam Sadhu Yuktya Vyapohya. Sadhu, very well, Yuktya Vyapohya. Logically, when you negate it, when you remove it logically in this manner, then Gneyaha Pasyat means later, Gneyaha ekabhavaha tayoryaha. Yaha tayoho ekabhavaha asti sa gneyaha. That is, this unity which exists between these two, that has to be known. Is it clear? Yes. Tayoho ekabhavaha, it has to be gneyaha. So that is basically rejecting this duality. Rejecting all this upadhi, rejecting the upadhi and equating what remains. Then here, of course, here again he is coming out with this what I was proposing to say about Lakshana. In this Lakshana there are different varieties, I was saying. Tatastu, you have time? 2 minutes. Only 2 minutes. Then we have to see in the next class only. Okay, but I will start. Tatastu tau lakshanaya sulakshyau tayor akhandaikarasattva siddhaye nalam jahatya na tatha jahatya kintu bhayarthatmikayaiva bhavyam. This again, it requires some explanation. Tatastu tau, tau means Jiveshwarau. Tataha means thereafter. Tau, those Jiva and Ishvara. Lakshanaya Sulakshyau. These two can be properly demonstrated by way of Lakshana. Sulakshyau. It can be shown very clearly through Lakshana. And what type of Lakshana? And then he also says, Tayoho Sulakshyau. Tayoho akhandaikara sattva siddhaye. Of these two, akhandaikara sattva siddhi. That is ekarasa. It is homogeneous oneness. Akhanda means totally unbroken, seamless as we say. Seamless, homogeneous oneness. Akhandaika rasatva siddhaye. In order to achieve that seamless, homogeneous oneness. Then na alam jahatya, na tatha ajahatya. So Jahat Lakshana, Ajahat Lakshana. He is using two words called Lakshana for this word Lakshana. He is using two words called Jahat Lakshana and Ajahat Lakshana. Have I explained it earlier any time? I don't know. I don't remember. But anyway, now we have to see Jahal Lakshana and Ajahal Lakshana. Jahal Lakshana is, suppose I will give you an example. Suppose the standard example given is say Visham Bhunkshva. Suppose the sun says, I want to eat, somebody has called me for lunch, I am going for lunch. The father says, Visham bhungshva, you eat poison. That means don't go to his house, it is as good as eating poison. So Visham bhungshva means don't go there, don't eat it. Instead of that, you as well eat poison. So that means you don't eat food there. That is jahat lakshana. That is by totally excluding the primary meaning. Lakshana, what is lakshana? Lakshana is you are going beyond the primary meaning. Sometimes you are also having some association with the original meaning. Sometimes totally different way. Suppose I use the word called, oh, you have hit the nail on the head. So that means what do I say? Really, you have not hit any nail on my head. It means you have driven the point very clearly. Even driving home is again a idiomatic usage. So like that you have got any number of usages. Suppose I say don't wash dirty linen in the public. That means two people, they are exposing each other's secrets before so many people. That is washing our dirty linen in the public. That is what happens in so many Yahoo groups. We see, suppose you go to any Yahoo group. So they start with great motive. Suppose you go to some great Yahoo group, something which is interested in Shastra studies, etc., etc. So they start a Yahoo group, but then somebody comes in between and pokes different types of questions, and they wash dirty linen in the public. If somebody is watching that Yahoo group, they will know all our weaknesses. So that is washing dirty linen. So anyway, there, that is jahat lakshana. That is, you are leaving that original meaning and then taking a totally different meaning. Ajahat lakshana means Gangayam Ghosha. That is, you are also having an association with this Ganga, and then you are saying that it is so proximate to Ganga. So that is what is Ajahat lakshana. Now he says, this Jahat lakshana is not possible. Ajahat lakshana also is not possible. You have to take what is called Jahad Ajahal lakshana. So we'll explain it, we'll see it in the next class. Now that time is over, we'll see it in the next class. Harihi Om Tat Sat.